What's up, y'all? It's your girl, China Lovelace, and we are back with another episode of Always Relevant Conversations. Today, I have a very important guest, a celebrity dentist, Howard graduate, because we know HU go crazy.
Stop making me blush.
Okay? Brother of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and the star and the man making it happen for Smile LA on the Zeus Network.
Yes.
My fam, Dr. Trevor Thomas. How you doing?
I'm excited to be here. Like you said, you family off back, so this is going to be a natural conversation. You know, we used to being in each other's presence, so it's another talk, another convo, you know. But I'm super excited to be here and to talk about something that's relevant. You know, dentistry is always relevant. So.
Right. We're going to get into all the things because dentistry is your ministry. You always say that.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to get into the backstory of, like, how did you figure out all of that? But before we talk about that, I just want to ask you, like, how you doing today? Like,
yo, I am tired. I'm tired. And the reason is, you know, not to pick on dentistry, but teeth don't take no breaks. So, you know, I was in surgeries this morning.
Okay.
I had a few emergency calls last night. I'm tired, but I'm here. Like you say, when it's something that you love, you keep pushing through, you know. Yeah. I'm sure you do a lot of filming, podcasts, so on and so forth, media-related business, and it's tiring, but you love it.
Ooh, definitely tiring. It's like, you know, media and news, it never stops, but, you know, you just got to keep pushing. For sure. But again, thank you for being here. And it's good to see you face to face. Like, we always talk like through the DMs. Like, you be sending me stuff. I do
not be sliding in her DMs.
It ain't that type of sliding DMs. It's professional. Like, you know, like, did you see this? Like, what you think? But, you know, we be talking. So it's like just good to have that one-on-one, you know, time together.
It's because I value your expertise, you know. Like, you really are, for lack of better terms, to shit at what you do, you know.
Thank you.
So anytime I know that I have an expert in my network at what they do, I'm gonna tap in. Right. And not to mention you're a beautiful black queen doing it. So you know, how can I do better? How can I be better? So on and so forth. What you think about this? Yeah, I'm gonna exploit you.
Right.
I'm gonna exploit your
in
expertise.
a good way. Okay.
And I'm gonna exploit your expertise in the best way possible.
Yeah, I appreciate that though. You know, because especially stuff online like with dentistry and the veneer text, which we're gonna get into, it just be crazy. So like when I see stuff, I be like, Dr. Trev, they need to come to you. But
listen, come one, come all.
Right. You know? So I wanted to get into just your background growing up. Like, how did you decide that you wanted to pursue to be the dentist that you are today?
Gotcha. So I'm a country boy at heart. I was born in Georgia, Douglas, Georgia to be specific. You know, grandma still worked the fields, all that good stuff. So true country boy at heart. Dirt roads are the main roads. And so I got that upbringing of it takes a village. Yeah. You know, I still got paddled in school. The ladies at church will beat your ass in front of your parents, and your parents will say, beat them some more, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Hit them harder.
Exactly. And then bring them over here so I can hit him too, you know. Right. But, you know, I say that in a positive sense, in the sense that it kept me grounded in the idea of community, you know. So as I started to matriculate, you know, went through my early years of education between Georgia and New Jersey with my mom. Eventually connected with my father and moved to Florida with him. Okay. You know, he pressed education more for me, so that's when I started taking like the advanced placement courses and the IB program, blah blah blah, all the fancy shit.
Very smart, because IB is hard to get into.
It was hard. It was hard. You know, I hopped on the train every day and took the train from where we lived, 45 minutes away, to go to an IB school. And I was blessed enough to get offers to multiple universities, Howard being one of them. Funny story, at first, I was totally against going to Howard.
Really?
I was totally against going to Howard. I didn't know too much about Howard, but I was chasing a high school sweetheart.
Oh, okay.
She was going to University of Florida, so I was like, I wrote my parents this long PowerPoint presentation of why I should go to University of Florida. And they essentially did what a lot of black parents do, know you're going to Howard.
Yeah.
You know, and that was one of the best things that they could have ever done for me.
Right.
So I reflect on that, and you know, I'm grateful that they decided to put their foot down in that situation. Yeah. Because my experience at Howard has shaped a lot of who I am today.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So just fast forwarding, while I was at Howard, I majored in bio and chem. I knew I wanted to be in healthcare. I knew I wanted to help people. My true passion was always mentoring. So I started a few mentoring programs at Howard. That's one of the reasons I did join my frat Alpha.
Okay. Shout out to the Alphas.
Yes. So, you know, once I pledged Beta Chapter at Howard University, I increased their mentoring program, started my own mentoring programs. work with big brother, big sister, but I pulled away from a lot of the formal mentoring because there are boundaries. So you can only be around a child in school, so on and so forth. And I wanted that one-on-one connection.
Right.
So when I pulled away from the formal mentoring programs, I started to be able to be in the house more. And, I wasn't just mentoring that one son. I was mentoring the siblings also, the other brothers, other sisters, the mom.
Whole family.
Yeah, the whole family.
Okay, that's different because normally when you hear about mentorship, it's usually, like you said, that one-on-one. But like to mentor a whole family, like, that's pretty deep. And
what's crazy is they're literally my family today. It's not like, that's my mentee or anything. Those are my brothers and sisters, Yeah. I call their mom, even though we're not too far off in age, my mom. It's like, that's family. Right. We even forget that we started informal mentoring. And so as I'm going through majoring in biology and chemistry at the same time, doing a lot of mentoring on the side, I started to seek a profession where I can use that science foundation while at the same time work with kids. Yeah. And at the time I was working with kids. And at first I wanted to be an OBGYN.
Okay. That's quite different.
Yeah, I wanted to be an OBGYN, and I was saying that, I want to help God bring kids into the world. Yeah. Right? But then again, as I got older and wiser and more in tune with sexuality, quite frankly, I didn't want to stab vaginas all day and then have to go home to my wife. Right. I would never want to be desensitized. Yeah, so I was like, maybe this isn't for me. I'm only going to see the kids once they come out. After that, I'm staring at mom and her lady parts. Yeah. And it fell on me in a positive way that my mentor while going through my alpha process was a dentist. Okay. And I took and he was a Georgia boy. So I took an internship with him, literally scrubbing the floors in the dental office. And I kind of went from scrubbing the floors to, doing basic x-rays, working front office, and then essentially becoming a dental assistant. Okay. And what I learned during that time was not the clinical aspect of the dentistry, but it was more so the relationship that dentists develop with their patients. It's the one medical profession where you really actually form a relationship with your patients because you should see them every 6 months. And you don't just see them, you see the mom, you see the cousin, sister, auntie, best friend, you see the side chicks, the mistress, you see everybody. Side chicks. So you really know the stories. Right.
Yeah, because you do. I'm going to the dentist on Monday, and I'm like, dang, I guess I don't realize like how often you go to the dentist. Yeah. Like you only really have to go to the doctor if it's like your annual or if you have a problem, and then if you ask them too many questions, they be ready to rush you out. But
exactly.
I think that okay, I'm with you. I'm with you.
I tell everyone 99% of dentistry is psychology. You can teach a 3-year-old to, say, cut a crown or veneer because it's repetition. Okay. But what's not repetition is forming a connection with folks from all different walks of life in your chair. Okay. Because if you and your dentist don't have trust, you're not going to stay at that dentist. No. You're not going to stay at that dentist.
Find the next one.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's what's unique about dentistry, the ability to tap into the psychology of your patient and understand the psychology behind their smile.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Just, going from like the internship, and I know like obviously you're a dentist now, but it's a lot of like African Americans, and I'm sure this is like other races too, but I just want to talk about our race. Like they're scared to go to the dentist or like they have bad experiences, but I guess that kind of like would show how the psychology will relate to things.
Yeah, so let me ask you this. You want a BBL. 9 times out of 10, if you want a BBL, you're going to go to a doctor. Look at you. And like you said, there are different or when you go to a nail, you may think beautiful nails are French tips. You may think beautiful nails have a lot of character to them. You may think they're long and pointy. You may think they're round, square, so on and so forth. Yeah. It's the same concept. A lot of times we choose healthcare professionals based on who can understand the image of our health. Yeah. Beyond curing the ailment, especially when we're talking about cosmetics and so on and so forth. Me as a dentist, I can relate to the ideas that, hey, traditionally what it looks like for us when we went to the dentist, if you're on state insurance, so on and so forth, it's either big silver filling or get it pulled. Yeah. The ideal of smile makeovers, and that's what is that? That's taboo to us. So when you have a dentist who can relate to what your upbringing and it makes you more comfortable. There can be embarrassment when you walk into a dentist or a new situation and they don't understand your background. Your mouth's completely messed up and they think, oh, you were just on drugs, or you didn't care to brush and floss. Well, when you look at it, you can brush and floss all day, but if you can't get completely beneath those gums because you don't have access to proper health care, you can have a nice healthy tooth that's loose from periodontal disease, something that may not be completely your fault, So there's those socioeconomic aspects of dentistry that are missed. And it's even harder because only 3.8% of dentists in the United States are African American.
Yeah.
when we represent a percentage that's way more than that, 41.
Yeah.
And on the actual dental board and the regulatory committees, less than 0.5% are not just African American, minority. You know?
Yeah. That's hard.
So there's an underrepresentation there. And again, not saying that those of other races and ethnicities don't care about their patients.
Yeah.
But again, it's just a relatability aspect.
For sure. Because I've only had, I mean, I know I came to you, you cleaned my teeth. Like, well, you did the whitening and stuff like that. And thank you.
You're welcome.
And when I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, I had went to a black dentist there. So, yeah, like twice in my whole adult life. That's not a lot of, representation. But I feel like in today's society, like, we're just seeing a lot of black dentists come out the woodwork. Yeah. So. Do
you remember your black dentist's name in Charlotte?
I don't.
Because it's only.
But I think their name was Oasis Dentistry.
Oasis.
And they were by the mall.
And the reason I say that is that just shows, I know who owns Oasis. That just shows how small the population is. So I was going to say, you went to a black dentist in Charlotte? Well, right now there's only about 2 or 3 in Charlotte. One is one that I mentored, and now she's practicing in that Charlotte area. Okay. But it's literally just that small. I'm like always, I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised that patients tell me, wait, what? You're black and you're the dentist?
Yeah.
You won't believe how many times I got called the assistant early in my career. Until the brand was there, and I became a recognizable face. But it's an innocent ignorance. Yeah. It's an innocent ignorance. It's not intentional, for the most part.
Yeah.
But
I understand what you're saying. But I think like with like just the time like we're in, like I just want to go ahead and get into it, like with the veneer techs. Do you feel like I know you and some of the other dentists like on social media, you guys, brought a more awareness to it, just like how deadly, and harmful this is to your teeth. But do you think like with people getting arrested and stuff like that, now people are saying like this is wrong, but do you think it will make there be an increase in people actually wanting to pursue like actual dentistry like the right way?
So you're in media, and the simple answer to that I'm going to say is no.
Okay.
And the reason I'm going to say that is no matter how much you try to educate folks, unfortunately, the bottom line is our intentions will always outweigh, not always, predominantly outweigh our common sense, Yeah. So if you have 100 people that have went to this plastic surgeon that we all know is unlicensed, or plastic surgeon that we know is unlicensed and doing it in a hotel room, and they're all okay, and only one person died, and it costs
a fraction,
2% of what a real doctor costs. I'm gonna say, well, that one person was just unlucky, And it's kind of the same concept. And it's crazy for me to say this, but I actually, to an extent, respect the idea behind the veneer tech.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, again, when you look at the statistics, 3.8% are African Americans, and we already know there are inequalities and, exceptions to college opportunities, blah, 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 so on and so forth. I respect the hustle of the idea of the veneer tech. If it's coupled with pure innocence, meaning you truly didn't know or weren't aware of the potential harm you could cause, and you truly in your heart of hearts felt that you were unable to take appropriate routes to do it the right way. And I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm going to compare it to the folks who do tooth gems or whitening in the middle of the mall, right?
Okay. Because do you have to have any type of, credentials behind that?
Technically, to be in someone's mouth, you should be a licensed healthcare professional, right?
And for no matter what. I'm clearing it up for y'all.
No matter what. But we are not going to, 9 times out of 10, create a social media, what's the word I'm looking for? Avalanche over a tooth gem person.
Okay.
Because the risk is low.
Yeah.
It's not until you have a crazy story where 14-year-old girl decided to get tooth gems in the mall. She swallowed the tooth gem and choked on it, or was allergic to the glue they're using in her mouth, and now her lip got permanently burned, or she passed away, God forbid. That's when it really becomes an issue. But as long as, just like dealing with the veneer tech, the plastic surgeons, this, that, so on and so forth, it doesn't really become a true issue until
something
really bad happens, unfortunately, you know. And before criticizing any veneer tech, I'm open to the conversation of, can I educate you? Do you know the true oral and systemic manifestations and lack thereof to what you could be doing? Now, if you allow me to educate you and you still want to, you know, from my end, it doesn't have to be me, but if you're open to be educated and correct and so on and so on, I'll help you get to dental school. I'll coach you, mentor you, put in good work, write your recommendation letter, so on and so forth. If you want to put in the work, you know, but if you choose to operate in an era of ignorance, that's on you, cuz. You know,
it's not even just an era of ignorance. I feel like we're in the instant gratification, like the Ozempics, the BBLs. Like, people just want it quick, and it's just like, we talk about it, or like we see the comments all the time, and it's just like, people don't realize how, like, your mouth is connected to everything, your heart, and you know, some of the veneer techs look good. And I remember, like, one of my friends was saying she was gonna go to the guy that got arrested in Atlanta.
You better not be named. Oh my God.
Oh, well.
No, I'm messing. Go ahead. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
But I was telling her, like, because I had looked to see, like, I'm not getting veneers, but I was just looking just because I seen, like, some influencers go there. And I went to the website. It was nothing about DDS. Like, no, you know, letters behind the name. And I told her, like, girl, that's not even a real dentist. And she was like, oh.
Well, let me tell you why it looks good. So, why it looks good, and I'll tell you why it's cheap. You know, I'll let you in on a little secret.
Okay. Tell the folks.
So literally what you're doing, or what they're doing, they use those type of veneers. They're using the whitest of our white filling material.
Okay.
Right? Point blank period. For me to make one of those teeth the way they make it, the material cost on that is about $3.
Okay.
Right? So if my material cost is $3 per tooth, the standard veneers, top and bottom 10 teeth, that's $60 to do that entire case, material cost.
Okay,
you know?
just the material, not the drilling and all of that stuff.
Well, they're not drilling too much.
Yeah, okay,
they're not really drilling too much. They're just layering the material on top of it, you know? So it makes it such that I can charge you anywhere from $5 to $10K and have a huge profit margin there, right? Only thing you're really paying for at that point is my chair time, right?
Okay.
But when you're dealing with true porcelain veneers, porcelain comes in a powder. The same way you have, you're dealing with gold, diamonds. They're different grades, different levels. You know, you get a 10 karat versus a 24 karat. You know, price is going to change. Porcelain is a precious metal.
That's the highest, like the best quality.
Yeah, and even within porcelains, you know, because some folks say, "Well, I got porcelain veneers and some, and they still are cheaper."
Yeah,
they're different levels
grades.
of porcelain. Yeah, you know, there's the lithium disilicates. You know, I'm not going to get too technical.
Speaking another language now.
they're different grades of porcelain. Just like you can have a moissanite will register as a diamond.
Okay.
An I grade diamond will register as a diamond.
Right.
It's not a VVS natural diamond.
Okay.
A lab diamond is a diamond. A VVS lab diamond is a VVS diamond, but it's not a VVS natural diamond. Okay. So, in long story short, it's levels to the shit.
That's all I heard. I'm following.
It's levels to it. And when you use the appropriate materials, they should last you till God calls you home, because they've been tested and proven to form a true chemical bond with the tooth to act just as your natural tooth will act.
Now, I'm glad, not to cut you off, I'm glad that you mentioned that, like, the teeth will last you for a lifetime, because I hear some people like, oh, you got to go back every, like, 30 years. Like, so that's not true? Or it just depends on...
It goes back to that material, and so on and so forth. You know, a bicycle and a car both will get you A to B, but the car's going to last longer than the bike. Well, it depends on what kind of car you're driving. But, you know, when you're dealing with those, we're going to generalize and say composite veneers, because that's what most of the veneer techs do. When you're dealing with those resin or composite veneers, they're literally just kind of layer on top of the tooth. They have micro gaps, so you're going to get bacteria trapped beneath the gums. And the tooth itself may still look good, but okay, year 1, year 2, year 3, you're slowly and chronically loosening the bone around the gums. So, around the tooth itself. And now you have a nice shiny tooth, but it's loose. And you wonder why it's not loose. Or the bite's off, or you're getting migraines now. Or in between the teeth.
Breath.
Right, you got the veneer breath, or you see the tooth is white on the surface, but in between it's yellow. And you know, all these are things that don't happen right away. So you think you got a good product for a fraction of the price. But now 2 years later, you're wondering why everything looks different, or why they're falling out, or this and that. And so, and again, not saying anybody is perfect. We're all human. But as long as the healthcare professional, as long as the healthcare professional is operating with your best intention in mind, even if the consequences don't match, give them a grace.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, we'll give you a little bit of grace, little bit of grace now, because some of y'all, but y'all still need to go to people that got letters behind their name.
Please.
Dentists, you got to go to school for 8 years.
8 years minimum, and still research the ones with letters because I say 80% of dentists are salesmen.
Okay.
You know, dentistry is a medical profession where you set your own rates, you have no ceiling, and basically you make what you put in. So you will find that 80% of dentists are salesmen. So that's why it's extremely important to have that trust between yourself and your dentist.
Okay. I want to give you a chance to just, I know some of the dentists like that you have worked with like on social media, but like we talk about like seeing more African-American dentists. So like who are some other dentists you would recommend for people that are not here in California?
Gotcha. So it's crazy because when folks think about, all right, these are like the top cosmetic black dentists in the country, first thing I would go through anybody's mind is they got to be ops or they got to like, not, you know, because it's like, because we technically share overall the same patient population.
Okay.
But it's kind of unique in how it works in the sense that we all kind of respect each other's territory and we're all kind of there for each other.
Good.
You know, if I have say my brother Rose runs Texas in that market, right? If Rose has a patient in California and a veneer pops off, Rose knows he can pick up the phone and call me in. I'm going to put that, tell your patient come in, I got it, no charge, so on and so forth. You know, if I have a patient in New York, I'm going to hit Dr. Lee Gauls and say, hey, doc, or Dr. Franklin Agubar. Yeah, true story. I had a young lady whose case that I wanted to take on Smile LA, but, you know, it was only a limited amount of folks I can take. And I say, hey, I'm still going to take your case myself pro bono. You know, we'll just do it behind the scenes, just, you know. But I've been so busy, I haven't had time to get her out to California yet. And she's like, you know, my 30th birthday is coming up, so on and so forth. Is there anything or any that you can think of or anybody you know I can go to, at least just patch it up a little bit? Yeah. So I called my boy Frank, Dr. Franklin Agubar over in New York, and I said, hey, doc, can you patch up this patient for me, make her look decent for me for her birthday photos on today, Saturday. This was on, yeah, right. This was on Wednesday. He brought her in there the next morning, worked on her whole mouth beyond my expectation, pro bono also. And now she sent us a picture earlier today like, hey, thank you guys so much, so on and so forth. You know, her name is Queen, ironically, so we were able to help that Queen. Yeah. But to go back to your question, Northeast, Dr. Lee Gauss, Atlanta area, that's going to be Dr. David, Dr. Q, Miami area, Dr. Amira, Tennessee, Dr. Anthony Price, Texas area, Dr. Rose, West Coast is going to be me, and that's kind of the markets, and then everything else kind of falls in. Y'all don't hate me if I forgot anybody, but, in Tampa, and I'll go on record saying this because, again, I'm all about supporting us. Tampa, you're going to find the best black dentist in the country specifically for veneers. What I mean by that is like, if you got a straightforward case, teeth are decent, so on and so forth, you know, he is the master of veneers, Dr. Brandon Mack. I salute that brother because he is such an artist at his craft, you know? And I always tell patients that I'm not the best at veneers. What makes me different from most dentists, and this I say this respectfully, is my clinical base and my clinical training. I can focus on taking a case from A to Z that's just not a straightforward case. You know, like the best player on the team or the captain on the team doesn't mean they're the best shooter, the best passer, the best at defense. I'm 80 across everything. So if you have a case where you need what I call full mouth rehab, or there's a lot going on and teeth are going, throwing up gang signs, gums are off, bone is off, some are missing, this and that, that's what I feel sets me apart from the tribe, and not just the black dentists in general. You know, I can take on those unique cases. Yeah. You know,
but everybody has like their own specialty, so I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like
exactly. You know, and like I say, it's all love between us. There's not one dentist.
Well, we gonna shout out to the dentist
in this country that I can say, oh, I'm beefing with that dentist.
Well, I mean,
oh, no, because they're not even in this country. I was gonna say, except the ones that exploit a lot of patients. But
well, that's a whole different conversation.
That's a whole different country.
Right.
You know?
Okay. Well, I appreciate that you took some time to shout them out because I'm like, I'll be seeing people. I'm like, okay, no. But I want to go ahead, since you kind of segued us in there, to talk about Smile LA on the Zeus Network. Like, tell me, because I seen you around Zeus, them your people. They've been around. Well, I wanted to know, like, how did that opportunity come about to just have your own show on their platform?
Yeah, so like you said, you know, I've worked with a lot of the Zeus cast. it all kind of started falling into place.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the folks that I've worked with the organization, I'm going to say with the family, you know, some are public, some are not public.
Yeah.
But it just became a moment where it's like, hey, we've seen you do all kind of dentistry on all folks here, and not just the dentistry, but more so the experience we've had in your office.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is dope. You know, like folks need to know about this. So Lemmy and I met up. We talked down. We talked. I met the entire team at Zeus and was like, hey, let's greenlight a show.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of stories out there surrounding us and our dental experiences that go untold. And then in my heart of hearts, I believe that when others are able to hear stories that are similar to theirs, it'll make them more comfortable with their dental experience and help them to do their research and educate themselves on what routes they should take to have not only a better dental experience, but a true relationship with their healthcare provider.
Yeah, I think that's important too, because I feel like, you know, some of us, or I don't want to say us, but us. Some of us like know like we have like these dental problems, but like we're like basically like suffering in silence. And like even me, like last year, I needed a root canal. I feel like I go in for one thing, I go in to like fix like cavities and stuff, and then it turns into something else. And I kind of was like telling my dentist like, okay, I'm having this sensitivity, and they were telling me like, okay, just wait it out, come back in 2 weeks. And I was telling my sister like, it's getting worse, like. And she was like, you're being okay with being like in pain. Like tell them people that you need to come in ASAP. So yeah, I definitely can see where you're coming from on that point.
Why didn't you tell them right away?
I don't know. Because I had a root canal before, and it's not like I'm scared to go to the dentist. Like I said, I'm going on Monday, but I just was like, okay, well, I'm just going to wait till 2 weeks. And then it got worse. And so I called them, and I was kind of upset because I'm like, I told y'all I had this pain. Y'all not doing nothing. And they sent me to someone down the hall, and they examined my teeth. And I don't know all the instruments, but they sprayed something. It was extremely cold. They put on my tooth. I had so much anxiety.
You jumped out the chair.
And I started crying because I was in so much pain, and I don't think I realized like how bad it was. It just progressed like within a short amount of time.
And I'm glad you said that's why I want to pull that out of you. You hit on 2 of the 4 main reasons that patients don't go to the dentist. One is finances. That's a big one for us. The second is fear. The third is lack of perceived need. You just don't know the extent. And the fourth is time. You know, you're running around doing all this media stuff, so on and so forth, and you're unaware of what's going on in there. You know, for most folks, like it wasn't for you in your case, but for most folks, it's fear of finances.
Yeah, because it's even when you have insurance, and I feel like I have pretty good health insurance. It was still like, I think like $600.
That's a whole nother conversation.
So, but let's take a pause on the money part. We ain't gonna even get into that.
Right.
But going back to Smile LA, because I'm a Zeus subscriber. I watch the show. I was gonna support it even if I didn't have Zeus, but you know I support you the long way.
Queen.
Now I wanted to ask you, with the episodes that are released so far, what was your most challenging case that you had?
Oh my God! So. It's crazy that you asked that because specifically when the team and I were selecting these cases, you know, we had over 1,000 submissions.
Yeah.
When we were selecting these cases, I didn't want anything that would be easy.
Okay.
You know, I wanted to, and not just easy in the complexity of the case, also dealing with the time constraints of filming. You know, you're in production, everything. Every day is $1.
Okay.
You know. So,
how long are y'all filming when y'all do this?
So we literally did actual filming for only 2 weeks.
Okay.
We filmed for 2 weeks and then a week of editing.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, each case that I worked on, I was doing 2 surgeries a day.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing 2, and this is after working my normal.
You still was doing your regular clients.
Still was doing my normal, you know, they don't want to be on pause for a TV show.
I appreciate that though.
So I was doing 2 full miles a day, and then that night. The next day we would be designing the case and then putting the case in the following day.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've, I don't know if like with that root canal you got a crown or anything like that yet, but.
Yeah, no, I got everything.
Yeah, most dental turnarounds are usually about 2 weeks minimum.
Yeah, because they got to fit you for for my crown, they got to fit you, they put the post and then you come back.
So I was doing 24-hour turnarounds.
Yeah, but these are the temporary ones. And
that's another thing, you know. And I laugh at them because
people don't be paying attention.
Our people are our people. But I look at all the comments like, oh, that's too big, that's too small, this, that's on and so. And like, that truly lets me know who's really watching the show, because you will understand that literally everything that's on the show, they're still in temporaries at that moment. So that's literally stuff that we were able to put together in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, and from the episode, like what you just saying, like you're still doing your regular clients, and you're doing the 2 surgeries. Those surgeries are long. Yeah, and I know we're only seeing a little bit, but I'm like,
we were filming to 3 a.m.
Yeah,
you know, these are full blown. These aren't veneer cases.
No,
these are full blown, top notch facial reconstruction cases. You know, and I applaud myself and my team and the production team, because look at how we were able to make those folks look in less than 3 days.
Yeah.
And on top of that, when you come out of most surgeries, you expect to be bruised and swollen. So we had to manage all of that. On 6 out of the 8 cases, every single tooth in the mouth came out.
Yeah.
Bone was cut. Gums were cut.
Yeah.
Screws were placed in the head.
Yeah.
Teeth were built literally in the mouth in that moment and attached to these screws.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's 40 minutes on the actual show, but there's so much. And again, I applaud my team.
Let's give him a clap.
I'm sorry, since Shamar taught me. So we did,
okay, so that's clocking it too. Okay.
You know, that's I applaud my team for the hard work and the efforts that we put in.
Yeah.
And I'm wild. I'm amazed. And it's literally all God that we were able to pull that off.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I was like, yeah, we can do it. But they're always the red flags. But we did it. Like, nothing could have went completely, nothing could have went wrong in those moments. And we stick to our timeline.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I like the smile makeovers. Like, it was good to see. I think her name is Alexis.
Yeah.
Story time, because
yes.
I've seen her on TikTok, and I'm just learning a lot about. Is it the how do you say
periodontal disease?
Periodontal disease, and I'm just like, dang, like I didn't really know like this was a thing, and like, I mean, you only know your mouth, you know, you don't know until you see somebody else. But I'm like, I feel like I'm learning. Now, I did want to touch on. You know, you said the comments, you know, the people be hating and stuff like that.
I love it.
And, you know, again, these are the temporary team. I pay attention. I know that. So I wanted to ask you about Kendra. So I know she had a really...
she got all the... I got all the smoke for Kendra.
Yeah, she had a really difficult case. And a lot of people were like, you know, y'all played in her mouth. The teeth were too big. So I just wanted to give you a chance to kind of like just speak on that.
Yeah. So when so first and foremost, beyond social media, I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Right? So when I comment on things, I have to respect the patient's privacy, even with the patient giving us full release, so on and so forth. I still keep a certain level of demureness.
Right.
You know?
Got
to.
to.
And, you know, and I have to remember at the end of the day, you know, no matter where I come from, no matter what I used to do, no matter this set, that set, whatever, I'm a doctor now. So I have to gather myself and be cautious when I respond, if I respond. But the biggest thing that's first and foremost, like you said, is Kendra's in temporaries.
Right.
You know, these are literally, everything came out of Kendra's mouth, and we have a first round to, for lack of better terms, not guess because it's an educated guess, but build something right then and there, right? And even with what we build right then and there, we could always go right back and change the temporaries. But when you're dealing with a surgical situation, it's like, do I want to go and keep playing, since they like to say I played in the mouth, right? Keep playing in the mouth and changing out temporaries and compromise the healing of the implants and jeopardize the surgery itself.
Right.
So Kendra's in temporary, a temporary prosthetic that's screwed onto the implants while she's healing.
Okay.
Kendra's case specifically, I had to cut away about 8 millimeters of bone for her.
Okay.
You know,
is that a lot?
That's a whole lot.
Okay.
On average, we usually only cut away about 1 or 2 millimeters of bone.
Okay.
Or we're struggling to find bone, right?
I see that sometimes, like you got to find it, like
after.
Yeah. Okay.
So for us to even have the ability to not have Kendra in a room with denture, that was a miracle in itself.
Okay.
You know, and a lot of folks online also didn't see her before picture.
Yeah.
But you know, so those pictures of Kendra literally were day one after major. She's the most major surgery there. It was day one of major mouth surgery, swelling, gums cut, again, bones cut, temporaries with nothing to guide you. And so what we do is we actually, before I make her finals prosthesis, because she's going to heal for a period of 6 months altogether. before she has her final set of teeth. After we make the after we make the first round of temporaries, and I have some sort of direction, there's a second set of temporaries and a third set of temporaries.
Okay.
Till we get her to that ideal smile, and then we finalize it in her permanent teeth 6 months later.
Okay. And this is what people wouldn't know. Like, obviously, this is a temporary. The Kendra could speak up and say, like, hey, can you adjust this or anything, you know?
And every patient on the show, they're my patients for life, you know? I'm there. They have free dental care with me for life. Okay. I check up on them, still take care of them, so on and so forth. If they have issues, they fly in, the whole nine, you know? But again, I'm not mad. I don't feel any type of way about the comments. But again, because it's innocent ignorance.
Right.
Innocent ignorance.
Clock it.
Innocent ignorance. And even there are even some docs in the comments that question the work. And again, I have to remind myself that these are docs who are commenting based on the basic knowledge that they have a lot of procedures that I'm doing. They're still not operating respectfully on the clinical level that I am. So even they're slightly ignorant on what's going on in there.
So y'all stay in your lane.
You know, so
get out the comments, stay in your lane.
Respectfully, stay in your lane.
Right.
You know. But again, if anyone wants me to educate them, I'm more than happy to educate. And I'm more than happy if they really want to go there to go to toe-to-toe on the dental theme, because I know what I know.
Right. Period. Now, I also want to get into Shamar. Shamar looks so good with his new set. I don't know the proper pronouns. Is it his?
You know what? We're gonna use they and them.
They, okay.
Because respectfully, I don't know what Shamar chooses.
I always try to be mindful of that. But Shamar, the teeth just look good. So
thank you.
Tell me, I want you to clear something up about that, because Shamar and Akbar V have been going back and forth, and Akbar basically was saying that she's the reason that Shamar even got linked up with you and that Zeus did it. So, like, are you able to, like, clear the air on that whole situation?
Once again, me being the doctor, I'm gonna answer it politically correct.
Okay.
Because I don't deal in social media mess. Okay. I've been reaching out to, and I'm gonna give you're gonna get an insight here.
Okay.
I've been reaching out to, for quite some time, a lot of notable influencers that have teeth-related issues, even prior to the show.
Okay.
Just because, again, going back on the platform of dentistry being my ministry, a lot of times influencers are a successful way at expanding your concepts and your platform. So when you think about folks like Shamar, Welvin, Ugliest Rapper Alive.
I see you just did his teeth too.
Grip Baby.
Yeah, okay.
Welvin's coming soon. You got that first.
Okay.
When you look at mouths like this, sometimes we try and reach out to them for years, and we randomly get, for lack of better terms, lucky.
That they respond, or they see the message.
That we get to them. For instance, Welvin, for example. Welvin I've been trying to get to for over 3 years.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
And
because he hasn't really been on social media.
Yeah, he hasn't been on it, and there's someone or some persons who are really using his account. It's not really Welvin, I learned. And finally, I was able to get to Welvin because I'm talking about the show, and we're having a conversation like you and I are having.
Yeah.
And I mention his name, and the patient in the chair says, "That's my blood cousin. Let me connect you with my aunt who looks after him."
Okay.
So it's moments like that.
Yeah.
When it comes to the ideal of Shamar, well before the show, I was trying to get in contact with Shamar. And even when I was doing casting for the show, I had a conversation with, and I'm still obscure on it because then I don't get into the mess. That's what it is. God is God. I'm happy that my patient's treated.
Right.
But I was having a conversation with who I believe was Shamar's former manager at this point.
Okay.
That kind of started the motion there. And then eventually it led to Shamar and I talking directly.
Gotcha. So this has already been in motion.
It's been in motion, and I say this respectfully again because I don't deal in mess.
Yes.
But even the conversation between Shamar and Zeus, I was not privy to any conversation between Shamar and Zeus prior to me and Shamar having a conversation, and me being Dr. Trev and not a representative initiative of Zeus. So it wasn't a Zeus told me to reach out to Shamar. It wasn't a Zeus reached out to Shamar. I reached out to Shamar on my own recognizance, knowing that, one, I've been trying to get him. Right. Two, the patients were saying, hey, not the patients, the audience. Right. Everyone was saying, get to Shamar, get to Shamar. So that was a conversation that eventually led to Shamar and I talking directly. Again, with all due respect, until it blew up on social media, I had no idea whatsoever of any type of conversations at all between Shamar, Zeus, or the Queen Akbar. Yeah, Queen of Atlanta. So it's all love and respect. But I'm happy we made it happen for Shamar. And that's another one where we're not done yet. You know?
Temporaries.
We're not done yet. He's actually going to be the biggest challenge because we got to go in there and break his jaw still.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of folks are asking that question. Let's get through all the social media question marks. A lot of folks like, the teeth are straight, but the jaw's still broken, blah, blah, blah. Or why did he not break the jaw first? This, that, so on and so forth. Yeah. It's like the concept of too many cars and not enough parking spaces. Right. We align all the cars in the parking space, then we rebuild the structure of the actual parking lot so that it works more efficiently. Okay. So Shamar's teeth have been placed in ideal positions in this temporary. So now that myself and the surgical team that are going to perform the surgery with me on his jaw have an idea or guide of where we want to move that jaw to make the teeth align more perfectly. Right. So he's completed step one of kind of putting the teeth in ideal position. And now that's going to be our guide. Because if we would have broke the jaw first, the teeth are still out of whack, it wouldn't have lined up, you know? So steps. Steps. Rome wasn't built in a day.
No. And I think just with you explaining it to me and explaining it to everybody else, I think people would just have a bigger picture of what's to come. Because I did see that comment oh, well, it's other stuff that Shamar needs done. I'm like, you got to start somewhere.
Exactly.
So
I think overall, the overall message is, I want folks to understand that respectfully, I didn't get to where I am in my career just off talking shit and being a funny dentist. Right. I got to have some degree of clinical competence for, or to handle the type of cases that I handle and to have the type of clientele that I have from little kids and newborns all the way up to A-list celebrities. It's not just he's a good actor. No. Yeah. Or he seems cool. Yeah. There has to be some form of skill set behind it.
Yeah. I mean, because just on the show, it's not just you're just slapping on veneers. You're doing surgery. So I get you.
But you get me. Yeah. But you're also an educated queen, I
am. Virginia State.
Yes, ma'am. So a lot of folks don't take the time, and especially those that don't watch the show. So they're just looking at
the clips,
they're looking at
that
the
go
clips
around.
and form a conclusion.
Yeah.
And again, I respect it. Yeah. It is what it is. But if you got a question, ask me.
Right. You ain't got no haters. You ain't popping.
That's what it is.
Popping. Now, I want to go into some of the celebrity clients that you had, because you had a plethora of them: Offset, Takeoff, Neo, Tyga, some of the Baddies, and Krishan Rock. What has been one of your most memorable, celebrity clients that you work with?
I'm always going to answer this question by giving love and respect to Apple Watts.
Okay.
From Love and Hip Hop, for those and the reason I say that is, when I was a young dentist, fresh out of dental school at Howard, I started working in Paris, California, so on and so forth, trying to build a name and a brand for myself. And I still do it to this day. But I'm digging through Instagram, trying to learn what it means to brand. Again, my background's in dentistry. I'm a country boy. I don't know the social media stuff,
Yeah.
And so I'm going through A-list, B-list, C-list, D-list celebrities hey, this is me, blah, 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 please give me a chance, so on and so forth. I ain't say it like that. I wasn't begging like that. But, searching for opportunity. And she was one of the first celebrities and or influencers to give me the opportunity to work on them. Whether it be discounted pro bono, whatever, she trusted me, to work on her. And that was my first, just like after you probably did your first, or before you did your first celebrity interview, you probably was nervous as shit. But once that's done, it's okay, that gave me a level of confidence that's immeasurable. Yeah. And that gave me a level of comfort that's immeasurable. And so her taking that chance on me kind of helped me blossom, respectfully. Took my virginity with celebs, and so now I'm outside with it. It's all right, I'm more confident, hit up these celebrities. Now I can say I worked with such and such, I we started running with the tag bye bye baby teeth, you know, because everyone used to call her baby teeth.
Oh.
So now she gave me something to put on my resume.
Yeah.
And that's something that I could never, ever get from any other celeb. That first one, you know.
Yeah.
So she always get my love. She always get my respect. She always gets my support. We know that she's been going through a lot lately, so on and so forth. And you know, that's family.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna help out how I can, out of respect for giving me the opportunity, whatever her motivations may have been.
Yeah.
The bottom line is she gave me an opportunity when I needed one.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm gonna send her some love too, and just some positive vibes, because she's.
You gotta get her on here.
If I can, I would love to.
Listen, I'll line it up for you. I'll make the phone call.
Just let me know.
I'll make the phone call. But yeah, so that I would say that's my favorite celebrity work on. You know.
So that was your first like step into the celebrity.
Yeah,
world.
that was the first.
Yeah. You talk about like, you know, you got your background, you're a dentist, and so that's what you went to school for. But it's like we don't talk about how you got to learn how to navigate social media. But just for like people that, you know, may not be familiar with like how important it is, you got to be living under a rock. But just like tell people like just some gems and some tools that you came through that just really helped you keep going. Because you're popping on social media now, too.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you so much. The bottom line is, and if you were to scroll down my Instagram and keep scrolling, you will see that I never really was in front of the camera. You know, it was never my comfort zone, you know. Or if I was in front of the camera, I said I'm a master deflector. I'm going to talk about your edges. I'm going to say why your nails look like, you know, I'm going to find a lot of things to deflect away from me while still get my message across, but to deflect. Because I wasn't comfortable with myself on the camera. How do I look? This, how am I sitting? What's my posture like? Blah, blah, blah. My lips look dry. You know, all these things go through your head. And when I really started to, for lack of better terms, take off on social media, is when I said, be your damn self.
Yeah.
You know, don't be afraid to unapologetically be yourself, of course, within due bounds, but be yourself and be the authentic version of yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and if you do that, if that audience is meant for you, they will stick to you like glue. They will support you like glue. And at the end of the day, if this is what God has for you, you will not fail. And ever since I made that conscious decision, you know, I have been blessed to continuously grow and prosper exponentially. The epitome of that for me is actually when we were shooting Smile LA. And I partially thank Zeus Network for it, but I remember I'm a baby at heart, you know. I'm a crier, right? So when I was shooting Smile LA and we were doing a lot of the reveals, and there's a whole lot, you know, like prior to each reveal, so on and so forth, you know, I have these one-on-one conversations with the patients, this, that, so on and so forth. We really have our behind-the-scene heartfelt moment.
Yeah, and I can kind of tell because you like really care for your patients.
And the cameras were still rolling here, and there are multiple moments where I cried on the show while the cameras were rolling. So, you know, and just to be able to have that vulnerability, and I wasn't afraid, like sitting there being a man, being a black man, like, you know, choking up to your eyes turning red. You know, I didn't boo-hoo too much. I was able to, you know, suck it up. But it's like, you can tell when, like, they about to drop, you know. You know, but I was cool with the ideal of, yo, the world may see me.
Yeah.
God, they may see my ugly face, you know. Again, editing, we didn't show that. Thank y'all. But I wasn't afraid to have that vulnerability. And just in the back of my mind, it's like, yo, this comes from me not even being comfortable being in front of the camera. Yeah. Period.
I would have never known that.
You know, and you know, but yeah, I was that was that. It's, you know, I just at this point it's just like, be yourself. You know, be yourself. And, you know, myself is, I genuinely care about it, but I want to make it a fun experience, you know? Like, and however folks take it, they take it. You know, some folks say I'm an asshole. But really, like, me and my patients talking shit, so on and so, that's what reminds me of my family. And ideally, 9 times out of 10 reminds me of theirs. Like, if we ain't talking shit about you, we don't like you. If we quiet around you, if we stiff, we don't like you, or we're not comfortable.
You're going to be closed in like, I ain't dealing with them.
So we're going to talk shit before doing it, after the procedure. We're going to have a good time. We're going to eat together, whatever it may be. It's going to be like the barbershop version of a dental office.
Okay. That's kind of lit, though. I mean, because, you know, the barbershop, you have those conversations and you just have those close-knit bonds. So I'm here for that. I'm definitely here for that. Well, before we wrap up our conversation, because you didn't drop so many gems, I do have a segment called Turf Talk. Okay. So I just want to know that you're living here in Los Angeles. What is some of your favorite things to do when you're not working with your patients?
Oh my gosh, the favorite things to do in LA. You know what's crazy? I like the people watch.
People watch?
I like the people watch.
Okay.
Let me tell you why.
I feel like it's gonna be something crazy.
Yo, they weird out here in LA. But honestly speaking, I know you said it can't tie back to dentistry, but it's gonna semi-tie back to dentistry. People watch because LA has such a diverse and unique demographic of people that it gives me the ability to understand what I may be dealing with career-wise and professional, and it helps me navigate expanding my network. Gotcha. Because if you can identify and relate to all the different types of people you see in LA, you can make it doing anything. Right. You know, but when we talk like basic hobbies of mine, I used to play basketball. I don't do it as much anymore because I got to protect my hands. I always tell people,
protect
you know, I got to be a bitch about my hands, you know. I used to play basketball. I like to shoot. Okay. I'm a shooter, you know. A legal shooter. I got my concealed carry and everything, so don't try me. Period. You know, what else do I like to do?
Where do you go eat? Like, what's your number one, your go-to meal? You got to have it from this restaurant.
This is bad. DoorDash.
DoorDash?
DoorDash and Uber Eats.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm always working. So, little known fact, every single DM that I get, I answer myself.
Wow, you don't have an assistant?
I've tried it multiple times, right? And going back to the idea of dentistry being my ministry, even with an assistant, you know, if there's no one who's going to be as passionate about the work as you are. So I try to give organic answers to patients. Okay. And most folks don't even know that it's really me answering them. They think it's fake, so on and so forth, or an assistant. But I answer every single one of my DMs. So when I'm off work, I live in Instagram. I don't know if you ever probably noticed, like, whenever we're DMing, I usually reply right back.
Yeah, you do be quick with it.
Because I'd be right in my phone, like, trying to get through all the DMs and stay caught up.
Okay. You know? Well, speaking of them DMs, now I know a lot of people reach out because they're interested in getting some work with you. Are you able to say, like, what your ranges are, and do you accept insurance for people that want to work with you?
My goal is by the time we finish having a conversation in my DMs, you know, I've looked at pictures of your teeth. We have it a virtual consult, but you know,
through the DM.
Roughly, through the DM. Okay. You know roughly how much it's going to cost. You know how long it's going to take me to do it. You have an expectation of level of pain. You have an expectation we can do a sleep or awake. Okay. You know all of my different financing companies I work with. Okay. And by the time you're actually in the chair, we should be darn near ready to go. Oh. You know, and that benefits both the patient and me. You know, I got people traveling from across the country and across the world. Also, if I just said, hey, come in and book a consultation, my entire day would be filled with consultations. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't have time to do any surgeries.
That's true.
So it helps me and also helps the patient. But in those DMs, you'll get it all.
Okay, so if y'all trying to get y'all teeth fixed,
slide on me.
Slide in the DMs.
Slide in the DMs.
Slide in the DMs. Just one last question before we wrap up. Do you think you will expand your offices? Because I know you have one in Studio City and Covina.
You trying to get
Do you think you're going to expand outside of California, or even maybe take it up north?
All right, see, you're going to have to cut up all these sound bites because you're gonna have
all the got to watch the full episode.
Yo, listen. All right. So I am expanding.
Okay.
I'm expanding extremely soon.
Okay.
And I'm going to say I'm expanding to 4 more locations. Okay. Within the next 30 days.
Huh?
But in order to know where those locations are, because she's not going to put them in the clip here, you're going to have to watch the full episode. When you get to the end of this episode, she's going to drop them.
Right.
Exclusive for you.
Okay.
Because by then, the social media, I probably would have already released it anyway. But anyway, exclusive for you, I'm going to be expanding to Georgia, New York, Texas, and Tennessee.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's amazing. Clap it up, y'all. Congrats.
So those are first. Okay. And again, the goal is just to offer more access to care to patients, make myself more accessible. And I plan to go beyond those, but those are the 4 I'm going to try to like close the gaps of how to get to me. Okay. So those will be the first 4. And then I'm thinking probably after that I'll go hit Midwest, like a Chicago area. Okay. But immediately, you know, y'all should see Dr. Trev operating in those states, as well as California still. I'm not abandoning my California patients. No, you got to, I
mean, this is where you started.
I'm not abandoning the California patients, but I'll be doing limited days a month in those 4 states.
Wow. So you just going to be on the road, Dr. Trev.
Yeah, so hopefully we have a season 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of Smile, wherever we're at.
Right. Smile. Dr. Trev, just
There we go.
smile, okay?
Smile. Just smile. Everybody just smile.
Everybody just smile. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming down to Always Relevant Conversations to speak with me. Well, everybody knows to watch Zeus so we can see Smile LA, but just let everybody know outside of the new practices that you're opening, like what else they can support you in and how they can stay connected.
Yo, honestly speaking, the best way you can support me is, you'll find a lot of times that I'm posting, whether it's other dental students, folks interested in dental school, patients who have certain brands, so on and so forth. Help support me by supporting those that support me.
Period.
And supporting those around. That's literally the best thing you can do for me. If you see, I've told you dentistry's 3.8%.
Yeah.
I posted yesterday a young lady who's trying to go to medical school that looks like you, right? Yeah. Don't just skip over the story or like it. Go to her GoFundMe and help her.
Send some, put 5 on it if that's all you got.
Exactly. Whatever.
Yeah.
If pray
right.
for them,
because prayer takes,
exactly.
It works.
So again, if I'm living true to my calling of dentistry being my ministry, help me minister to others and help let's create more ministers in whatever respective field, in whatever respective way that is. Period. So that's how you support me. And pay your bills on time.
Right.
There we go. Pay your bills on time.
And let them know your social media just in case they're living under a rock.
Yo, if you're living under a rock, social media, Instagram, dr.trev, Trev, Thomas, Thomas. And then second to back up, Instagram, Teeth by Trev.
Period. Thank you so much.
Thank you for keeping me relevant.
Yes.
Period.
Period.